Greetings. Today I would like to take a look at Antiochus Epiphanes and answer the question of whether or not he is a forerunner of the future coming Antichrist. And for this video, I'd like to give a shout out to my collaborators Ryan Rego and Anthony Wong, who were invaluable in helping me prepare this. Let's start by reviewing the historical timeline of Antiochus Epiphanes. He seized the Seleucid throne in 175 BC and ruled for about 11 years after that. It's recorded that he led an invasion of Egypt, his first invasion, in the years 170 to 169 BC. On his way back from Egypt, he stopped through Jerusalem and pillaged the temple, taking all of the golden articles, including the menorah and the golden altar and all the gold artifacts, back with him to his capital. And this is recorded in 1 Maccabees 1:20 to 24. He led a second invasion of Egypt from 169 to 168 BC. This is the one where in Alexandria he was confronted by the Roman general Popilius who famously drew a circle in the dirt around Antiochus and told them that he had to leave Egypt, and if he stepped outside of the ring before he agreed to do this, he would be at war with Rome. Well, this humiliated Antiochus. And on his way back, he stopped through Jerusalem again to suppress a rebellion and murdered 80,000 Jews. He confiscated 1,800 talents of temple silver. He entered and desecrated the holy place at that time. And these events are recorded in 2 Maccabees chapter 5, verses 11 to 21. 1 year later, in 167 BC, Antiochus sent an emissary, Apollonius, who occupied and burned Jerusalem while killing many. This is recorded in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, 29 to 35. Now, Antiochus had also issued decrees which outlawed Jewish religious practice, including the daily service of the temple. He then committed an abomination on the 15th of Kislev by erecting a statue of Zeus with his facial features on the altar. He took on the name Epiphanes when he assumed the throne, which means God manifest. He also sacrificed a pig 10 days after the abomination on the altar on the 25th of Kislev, and this they did yearly thereafter. These events are recorded in 1 Maccabees 1, 41 to 64, and 2 Maccabees 6, 1 through 11. So there are several similarities of Antiochus Epiphanes to Antichrist. He compared himself to God, as Paul states that the man of sin will do and alludes to in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. He seized the throne, as we know will happen when the little horn seizes the throne, according to Daniel 11. He stopped the daily sacrifice, which is recorded by Daniel in chapters 8, 9, 11, and 12. He committed an abomination, again, Daniel 8, 9, 11, and 12. He was also the ruler of the area of Assyria. We know that in the latter days that the man of sin is referred to as the Assyrian or Asher. There are things that rule him out as the Antichrist, dissimilarities. In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, we know that the man of sin is future to Paul's day. Antiochus was historical to Paul. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 8, Jesus will end up destroying the Antichrist. Antiochus died of natural causes. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 9, the Antichrist is accompanied by miraculous signs and wonders, and these did not occur with Antiochus. Jesus refers to the abomination of desolation as spoken of by Daniel the prophet, which was future to Jesus in Matthew 24:15 and the Olivet Discourse. But again, Antiochus was historical to that time. In Daniel 11:37, it says that the little horn will not worship the gods of his fathers, while Antiochus did. In fact, he worshipped the gods of his fathers, the religion of his fathers. In Daniel 12, verse 2, there was no resurrection 1,290 days after the completion of the abomination of desolation. in Antiochus' day. This will be something that does happen in the future. In Daniel 7, verses 7 and 8 and 24, we know that Antiochus was not of the 10 horns, and he did not uproot 3 horns. These are things that the little horn will do in the future. Daniel 7:23, Antiochus did not rule the whole world, he ruled the Seleucid Empire. In Zechariah 11, verse 17, Antiochus was not recorded as being blind in his right eye or lame in one arm. So there are many things that would rule him out as being the Antichrist, but the similarities do seem to point to him as a forerunner or type of the future Antichrist. So as a type of Antichrist, we know that he committed the abomination on the 15th of Kislev of 167 BC. We also know that he caused the daily sacrifice to cease through his edicts. This was also in 167 BC, but it is not recorded in history what day that was exactly. So the question is, does he model the vision of Daniel 8, the vision of the evening morning 2300? Well, if we look at the vision of Daniel 8, verses 3 through 12, many would say that it is a near-far prophecy that was fulfilled by Antiochus in the past, but will also be fulfilled by the future Antichrist, and I would agree with that assessment. In the vision, the goat horn of Greece shatters the 2 horns of Media Persia, as explained in the vision. Then the goat horn is broken and replaced with 4 conspicuous or main divisions, 4 horns. The little horn arises from this, just as Antiochus controlled the Seleucid Empire, one of the 4 main divisions of Alexander's empire after it was divided. He then proceeded to stop the daily sacrifice and commit a desolating transgression in 167 BC. Then in verses 13 and 14, one angel asked another, "How long the vision the daily?" The answer was given, evening, morning, and it's singular in the Hebrew, evening, morning, 2300. Then the holy will be made right, cleansed, or justified, depending on the translation you prefer. Many interpret this passage to say that 2300 days, evening, morning, constituting one day, will transpire from the cessation of the daily until the holy place is cleansed. The problem with this is that we come up in Daniel 12, verse 11, and it states, "And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 1290 days." So if we time it from the abomination to the end of the 70th week, we only have 1290 days. 2300 days would go way past the end of Daniel's 70th week, which creates a little bit of an interpretive problem. Get around this problem, many would say that the vision actually refers to resumption of the daily, and this would allow them to move the 2300 early in the first part of the 70th week of Daniel in order for it to end at the end of the 70th week. But the problem is the vision counts from cessation to cleansing of the holy place. It does not mention resumption. So another way of looking at it might be that the 2300 refers to the number of missed daily sacrifices from cessation to cleansing, because in context, the question was about the daily sacrifice, and I believe the answer was given in terms of the daily as well. If 2300 sacrifices were missed, then we have 1150 days from the time of the abomination. And this fits well within the 1290-day interval of Daniel 12. So this is a possible way to look at that vision of the 2300, is that it constituted 1150 days of 2300 missed sacrifices. So does Antiochus fit the model of 2300 missed sacrifices? Well, we know that the temple rededication was on the 25th of Kislev, 164 BC. If we count back 1150 days, which is 3 solar years plus 55 days, then we have to also account for the additional months of Adar that would have been added. And in a 3-year interval, you would either have 1 or 2 ADARs added in a 3-year interval. So if you added 1 extra ADAR and you account for that, counting back 1150 days would land on 27th of Tishri, 167 BC. On the other hand, if 2 extra ADARs had been added, then it would land on 27th of Cheshvan, 167 BC. And this makes sense because Seleucid royal decrees were typically issued in the month of Tishri, which was the first month of their administrative year, and they liked to issue decrees during that month to start the year. Well, Antiochus issued a decree to stop the daily sacrifice and the practice of the Jewish religion. It's very possible that he could have issued that decree on the 27th day of Tishri. That actually has an 89% chance of being what happened because during a 3-year interval, that is the frequency of time that only 1 ADAR would have been added. But if 2 ADARs had been added, it would have been the 27th of Cheshvan that the decree was entered. That has an 11% chance of being correct. However, that still, both of them would work because they occur before the 15th of Kislev when the abomination occurred. So it appears that if we go with a model of 1150 days from the issuing of a decree to Hanukkah and rededication of the temple, that would allude to 2,300 sacrifices, and the temple would have been rededicated then on the 25th of Kislev of 164 BC. Therefore, it is possible that Antiochus does fit the model if we look at it from a 1150-day standpoint. I want to emphasize that 1150 days is possible, but this is not proof because we don't have the exact historical day that Antiochus issued the decree. It's just that it's very possible within our framework. So this is a hypothesis. I'm not saying that this is exactly the way it unfolded, but it is a possibility. And now I want to look at if this is true, then what are the implications? 10th of Nisan is the 6th of April in the year 2028, and this corresponds to the day of presentation when the lamb for sacrifice was to be presented to the priest. We believe that the daily in the future will be stopped the day after the day of presentation, beginning on the 7th of April. The daily will be taken away. From there, it is 1150 days from the 7th of April 2028 to the 1st of June 2031. And this is when we believe the holy place on the foundation stone will be cleansed or justified. And this date is on Shavuot of 2031. What about the dates from the abomination of desolation? Well, that's a different count. The abomination of desolation would occur on the 14th of April of the same year, 2028, mid-Passover week. 1,260 days later would fall on Yom Kippur from the 14th of April 2028 to the 26th of September 2031. It's 1,290 days from the abomination to the 10th of Cheshvan, which is the 26th of October 2031, and we speculate that this could be the day of the sheep-goat separation. 1,335 days from the abomination lands on the first day of Hanukkah, on the 10th of December, 2031. We also believe that it's possible that the seventh trumpet of Revelation occurs on Shavuot of 2031. In Revelation 11, 15 to 19, we see that the seventh trumpet sounds. His reign has begun. His wrath has come. The temple of God opens in heaven, and specifically the temple in this usage is Naos, referring to the holy place. It's accompanied by lightning, loud voices, thunders, earthquake, and hail. Revelation 15 adds a little bit of extra. John notes the heavenly sign that he sees of the 7 angels. After this, the Naos, the temple of God, opens, and the 7 angels exit with their balls of wrath. Smoke of his presence fills the Naos, and no one can enter until the atonement has been completed. So combining these two visions, and we think they're the same opening of the temple, we find that it's accompanied by trumpet, lightning, voices, thunders, earthquake, smoke, and hail. Now, if we compare the imagery of Revelation 15 to that of Exodus 19, the very first Shavuot, verses 16 to 19, we see both are accompanied by a loud trumpet. Both are accompanied by the smoke of his presence. There was a great earthquake in each instance, thunders, lightning. In Exodus, you couldn't touch the mountain. In Revelation 11 and 15, you cannot enter the naos until the bowls have been poured out. Later in Exodus, Moses atones for Israel for the sin of the golden calf during the time spent from Shavuot all the way to Yom Kippur. And likewise, we believe that the 7 bowls of wrath are poured out, just as the high priest would do on the Day of Atonement to atone for the earth in Revelation 11 and 15. Now, in Revelation 11, 1 to 14, John is asked to measure the temple, or the naos, the altar, and the worshippers there. Well, this occurred on earth because it has worshippers. Measuring marks ownership. Notably, the outer courts are left out because they're to be trampled by the Gentiles for 42 months, that and the rest of the city. The 2 witnesses' ministry is 1,260 days from that point, and we think this begins just before Passover week, or 4 months before Passover week in 2028. They are then killed and resurrected and ascend in the cloud. We think that this happens just prior to Shavuot, because after that, the heavenly naos is opened at the 7th trumpet, and the temple then is filled with the smoke of his presence. Now, being that the earthly temple is a copy of the heavenly temple, we think that the smoke of his presence in the heavenly temple is being duplicated on earth at the same time, and this is the first place that is atoned for when he returns to rule and reign. Hebrews 9:24 states that Christ didn't enter a holy place made with hands, which is a copy of the true one, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God for us. So putting all of this together as a last days hypothetical, we believe that Antiochus Epiphanes is indeed a forerunner of the Antichrist. He stopped the daily 1150 days prior to Hanukkah, 167 to 164 BC, with a total of 2,300 missed sacrifices. Likewise, we believe that the Antichrist will stop the daily 1150 days prior to Shavuot in 2031. The 2 witnesses will serve 1,260 days, and they are taken up just prior to Shavuot in 2031. We believe the 7th trumpet sounds on Shavuot of the same year, and his reign begins from his naos, from the holy place, and moves outward from there, just as atonement in the days of the high priest started in the holy place and moved outward. The bowls of wrath are poured out from Shavuot to Yom Kippur 2031, and this corresponds to the time that Moses interceded for Israel to atone for them from the sin of the golden calf up to Day of Atonement. We believe that the Revelation 7th trumpet mirrors the actions of the high priest in the days of the Exodus. Time will tell if this hypothetical will play out or not. Again, we're not saying that's the way it is, it's how we see it at the current moment. Future videos that we're working on in the coming weeks will include topics on the first fruits of the wheat harvest, the main wheat harvest, the gleanings harvest, the completion of the harvest cycle, and the first resurrection. Ryan is working on a great video that will tie the moeds to the seals of Revelation. We also have another video in which we'll discuss a potential confirmation of the onset of the 70th week in the fall of 2024. And I'll close the video with a quote from 1 John 5:11 to 13. And the witness is this, that God has given us eternal life, and this life is in his Son, and he who has the Son has the life. He who does not have the Son of God does not have the life. These things I have written to you who believe in the name of the Son of God, in order that you may know that you have eternal life. And these are great words of comfort from John in his letter. Thank you, And again, shalom. Nothing catches him by surprise. He is sovereign and in complete control. Thank you for listening. Until next time, good day.